Welcome to Let's Get Crafty with
Betty
and Nina.
Hi, crafty besties.
Today we're going to be talking about
OLOs.
OLO alcohol markers.
OLO, the heart of color.
Did
you know
like
that?
It. I didn't know that was their thing. That's their slogan.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. They pick the name because they're OLO. If you add the C and the R, it spells the word color. But OLO is the heart of color.
That's cute. I like
Isn't
that
it
marketing.
cute?
I didn't even know that, and I went.
The more you know, Betty.
And I already went full bore.
Betty has full set syndrome.
Yeah, we do.
What is full set syndrome, Betty?
It's when you jump into something intensely, because like, have you seen all those reels of like, oh, when I decided I was gonna crochet, or when I was gonna start quilling, and you buy all the things, like you go in and you just buy all the stuff, and then you realize maybe I don't like that. That's kind of how it happened to me, but but I do like to purchase everything for a collection.
Yeah, because you have full set syndrome.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's full set syndrome for me.
For you. I just have to have it all in case I need it. I'm like, am I ever going to use O 2.7? I don't know. But the time that comes and I need it, I'll be like, oh, I should have bought it.
Yeah. And I mean, when it comes to like markers, when it comes to alphabets, you have to buy the full set. You can't miss a color.
True.
You need all the colors to make things work.
I feel like that. Yeah.
So
I agree.
we decided to talk about OLOs today because they just launched 32 new colors to their line.
For now, they have a total of 160. So I guess maybe we should like
talk about alcohol
markers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because for a very long time, the brand to get has been the Copic alcohol ink markers.
Yeah, that's been like industry standard.
Yes.
And that's fair to say.
I mean, yes, I think so.
Yeah.
But also, too, like for me, I have full set syndrome with my Copics too. I should have brought those too. But we were like, oh, we're talking about OLOs, so I just brought my OLOs.
Fair. I sold all my Copics.
Did you really?
I did. I sold at the flea market.
Oh.
Yeah, because I went full steam ahead.
Full steam ahead in
with
the OLOs.
OLOs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're an alcohol ink marker, just like the Copics, so that you can color blend. And when you're color blending the colors, the worst part, remember like in kindergarten, or maybe not kindergarten, but like third grade, when you would try to like color with the yellow and then the orange, and then the yellow would bleed into the orange, or the orange would stay on the marker, and and it just make a mess.
Yeah, turn into mud.
Yeah. And on the tip of your marker, right?
Yeah, that's not great.
So alcohol ink markers don't do that. So they blend kind of seamlessly. So you can do a lot of shading. You can do a lot of techniques, like you can color in eyes and faces and pleats and skirts and stuff. So they're really rad for that.
And it's what a lot of artists use, like legitimate,
fine
like
artists.
people who are doing sketches, doing comic books, manga, that kind of stuff. They're using OLO markers to create those beautiful illustrations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So OLO has social media, and then the other marker we carry from this company is Kareen. They don't make both, but they like distribute both. Those Kareen water brush markers.
Yeah, and the Kareen gel pens. Ooh, those are good.
So this is a super fun company to work with and partner with. So OLO had whatever 160 minus 32 is, because it's the end of the day. I can't do math.
I don't do math.
Markers, and they just launched 32 more, so there are 32 new colors, and they're trying to fill the gaps of I think what they knew their weaknesses were, right?
It was skin tones.
Skin tones. Copic
skin
still
tones.
is doing has a lot more skin tones, so I think that's why I haven't ditched my Copics yet.
That's fair, because even now, so in preparation for the podcast today, I updated my chart and I have my case filled in the order. And
I did mine too.
And you can tell, like, there's a gap. Like, you can tell there's a gap in skin tones.
There is a gap. But you filled your case in the order of the color chart?
Yeah. How else would you do it? Because when I look at the color chart, it matches where my markers are. Uh-oh. Do we have another situation, people?
I think we do. I did mine like color family, like rainbow order.
But yellow's not at the top of the rainbow.
I don't care.
It doesn't make sense. Why
I mean,
would you
it's
do-
not rainbow. It's rainbow adjacent. Like, well, I don't know. I started with my Y's just because there wasn't as many. And then I went Y, Y, G, G, B, G, B, B, V, V, R, V, R, O, R, O.
People, this
and
makes
then my
no sense.
grades.
There's no order to this. I did it
I mean,
to match exactly. And I left some room because I feel like they're missing a lot of R's. And I think that we'll have to like
oh,
fill
you're
in here.
speculating? No, you're going to have
Yeah.
to redo your whole thing.
Oh, 100%. But I left some room there. But it's in exactly the order. And at the bottom, I have a chisel tip. But
I
let's,
have a black on black chisel tip.
yeah, this is
Yeah,
a
me
black
too.
chisel. So
Yeah,
I
I
just
have
put
one of
this
those too.
one chisel down
Where
here.
did mine go? Oh, mine might be supposed to be outside. on the
But I
table.
think we should also talk about how we have our markers stored, because this was not only full set syndrome, it was full replacement syndrome as well.
I know. Yes. So, well, that would be like, let's take a step back too. We're always taking a step back. Is
Well,
that fun?
We get too excited.
We do get too excited and ahead of ourselves. Okay. So, OLO marker.
For those who are listening,
For those that are listening, I have an OLO marker in my hand. We didn't even talk about those cases we were like talking. But an OLO marker is when you look at it, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to buy this marker. This is half a marker.
yeah,
And it is. It's like a half
super
size
tiny.
marker. It is half of the size of like a Copic marker.
But it's jam packed with product.
Yes. So the difference between the big difference between Copic and OLOs is the Copic marker. When do we have one handy?
Probably not.
Oh, I do. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna be in a situation.
Nothing was harmed in the making of this podcast.
Also, nothing was received to us for free. We bought all this.
Yeah, I got receipts. My husband was like, how much did you just spend on the new Copic or the new OLOs? And I was like, oh.
We don't talk about what happens at Creative Escape, Robert.
Facts.
Okay, so this is a Copic alcohol ink marker. It's the sketch one, which is the brush tip on one end and the chisel tip on the other, which is kind of what a lot of card makers and I think artists are more tend to use. I think it's the most popular one.
I mean, card makers, we all use the brush tip. I've never used the chisel tip ever. Have you?
Only in the boot camp class. Stop it. Okay,
Back
so
to the marker.
the Copic marker comes like this. The OLO marker, if you're watching, you can see it's literally half the size,
Mhm.
right? If you're listening, take my word for it. But it's half the size, but it's 2.5 times the amount of ink that one Copic marker has. The ink is free flowing in the OLO. So in here, I'm going to take this off. So I have only the brush tips because I didn't buy the chisel. So you can choose to buy a brush or a chisel. And I have the brush tip. And in here, this cartridge is just free flowing ink. The refill system is super easy. You just buy a refill. You take the top off. You take the brush tip out of this and you put it into the other one. And that's the end. So no more trying to
Refilling
re-ink these.
Copics were the bane of my existence.
Yes.
It's so messy.
So-
It's so temperamental.
Mhm.
It's like a whole situation in and of itself to refill.
It is because a Copic is designed differently. So the Copic has a foam kind of core. So there's a piece of foam kind of in the middle of the marker that the brush tip and the chisel tip touch. I wonder. Oh my God. Okay, I'm just gonna go for it. So if I pull out,
Ooh, it's getting wild over here, guys. She just like ripped that tip out. Oh my gosh.
it's like designed to do this.
I'm uncomfortable.
So imagine there's like a foam barrel in the middle of this marker, and this brush, this is a chisel tip, so you can see it's really long. It's about 1 inch long.
Mm-hmm.
The tip itself is not 1 inch long. It's maybe, I don't know, would you say 3/8 of an inch that sticks out of the marker?
Sure.
The rest of it goes into the barrel of the marker so that it can touch that foam center
And
to absorb the ink,
Mhm.
right? So when you want to refill a Copic marker, you have to drip ink precisely into your marker or all over the place like I do until your kind of marker is saturated, and you want to be like weighing the marker so you have approximately the right amount of ink in there.
That's ridiculous.
It's a lot of work.
That's so much effort.
Yeah, as you would say, 10 out of 10, I don't recommend. But, you know, I mean, there are other markers on the market, but this
Sure.
is like the gold standard, right?
Sure.
Like the ink blends well. They're very smooth. The transition, you don't see streaks. Like no matter if you're kind of like a beginner or a medium, like skilled, I think that this just made you feel more successful
I agree.
with alcohol ink coloring.
And what I love about the OLOs is, you know, I think they're generally way juicier.
They are way juicier. So with the Copic, the technique was saturate your paper first with your lightest color, then go back with your like dark, medium, light, right? That's kind of like a general technique.
Yeah.
But
So you were typically always doing a 3-color blend.
yes. And I'm a heavy-handed colorer. So
am I. So the
So much
3-color blend was so annoying.
it was
And
so
with the
much ink
OLOs, girl, I'm
everywhere.
2-color blending out here. It's great. I'm not doing none of this saturation business.
Yeah. Well, because they are juicier, you don't have to pre-saturate that paper and the ink flows a little bit easier. I think it's also kind of changed the game for a novice.
They're very user friendly.
Yeah, they're easier to blend. The only kind of downfall is that, like we said earlier, you're like, oh, they don't have enough R's or whatever. You know, they need to fill in the gaps. But like, you can't just release like
300
370.
colors.
I think Copics, I think, are 368 colors or something crazy.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, I think they're doing a good job with what they've released, and they have amazing purples. Let's see, purples are crushing
Their
it.
purples are amazing, but what I also like is not only do they have numbers, they have an alphanumeric coding system for it in addition to names. So I
Oh,
think that's
yeah.
what's different for me. It's like everybody grab your R000.
Wait, these have names too.
Oh, do they really? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they have. I think these names are more fun. I like.
They
these
might be
names.
more fun, but
I like
Copics,
these
yeah, I
names.
was like, I thought they
I like.
did have names.
I like the white. Like this is white peach. I love that. That's
Yeah.
a fun
There's
name.
like Robin Eggs Blue or something.
Ugh, well, that's what I thought was different. But also talk about the connectors.
Okay,
That-
so
I think that's what makes this really special and
back
unique.
to the OLO is kind of a half size of marker, but it's not meant to always be a half size. So they sell like they sell handle attachments if you wanted to just make it a full size marker.
I thought those were weird. It was like it tapers off a bit. or
like
it's-
a brush,
yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
it's
Like
like
a
if you're doing a
paintbrush.
brush, yeah. So, but some people find that they get more control over it. But for every 2 markers you buy, if you buy them open stock, you get a connector ring, and the ring kind of goes into the back end of the marker. And now you can attach another marker to the other side to turn it into a full marker. So some people nope, not yours.
I did
have
it
one
and I
out
hated
there.
it.
So some people are buying the full brush set and the full chisel set and connecting brush chisel like you would a traditional Copic,
I didn't like that.
right? I don't use the chisels, so I didn't buy the chisels. So I had started just like you. I just connected my brush with my brush. So I had my like OR 2 points. No, this isn't OR. This is YO 2.7 with IO 2.5.
Because it was the closest color family.
Because they're like next to each other.
But what I
I'm
found what was really
struggling.
hard about that is there's so many gaping gaps in color to where, you know, your closest color match could be 3 or 5 colors away from where it's truly going to be.
Yeah.
And that was really annoying for me.
What I found was really hard was I confused myself if I had 2 markers open and
And
then
then
I
what
start
color is
coloring with the
what?
wrong one.
Exactly. And then you're stuck and then you have to redo it, which is sucky.
Yeah.
But then
So then, when we were at boot camp with Jen Dove, shout out to Jen Dove, she said, "Oh, well, you could just get a refill and put it on the back. So then when you need one, which will take forever, it's going to take me forever to get to need a refill.
I'm never going to use these refills. This is just strictly for having the pen to fit in my pretty little container here.
But if you take the refill and you put it on the back end, then you have like a full size marker, and then whenever you need your refill, you're ready. So the OLO markers are also a lot cheaper. So they're
I just bought them all. I
think
don't know.
$4.19 a marker. I want to say 419. Does that sound right? Ooh. Around there.
It's like 4-ish and 3-ish.
4-ish and 2-ish.
Oh, dang.
The refill, I believe, is 2. I should just look it up. I think the refill is $249.
Yeah,
$229.
it is extremely cost effective because Copics were roughly $8 or $9 a marker.
Yeah, like we sell them for $8.99 because that's the pricing we get,
and
that's the MSRP.
And then the refills on top of that are expensive too.
Yes, I don't even know what the cost of the refills are because we don't even carry them. We special order them when people need them.
Yeah, I mean that's just such a pain. So for your money, you're getting more ink.
Yeah, so this marker right here would be worth 5 Copic markers in my hand.
That's ridiculous.
Right? And let's go to OLO. On my website. Oh, the replacement is $269.
What a
Yeah,
deal.
so $269 for the replacement. Boop, boop, boop.
That's really cost effective.
It really is. And then $409 for the brush. So 2.69 plus 4.0. Why am I not doing this math in my head? $678.
For under $7.
So for $678, I would have paid for 5 Copic markers.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great value. I like the system. And then let's talk about what our OLOs are in.
I know. Okay. So, I know it's a different format this year, but so we've done a couple girls' weekends where we go to Phoenix, Arizona, because Jen Dove teaches a
Coloring boot camp.
Copic boot camp, and then she morphed into a Copic/OLO boot camp, and now I think it's like a card making boot camp that still focuses on coloring.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really care if I have finished projects.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, we do it to hang out. Like the whole trip is to go hang out
and practice
and learn.
Yeah. Because I don't have dedicated time.
That's fair.
So when we were there, the first year I was there, I saw this magical case, and it fits all the Copics, all the Copics, and I was like, oh, where are people getting these? Well, some people had these, and some people had this suitcase Copic made. It was like a metal suitcase that like your markers go into, and I was like,
like the Deal or No Deal kind of suitcase.
Yeah,
Like that's really intense.
I know. And then I was like, talk about full set syndrome. I was like, first of all, I'm short 25 markers, and I need one of these cases. It was an expensive trip.
It was expensive because not only I went to the trip, but then afterwards I bought all the refills.
You did.
I know.
Well, so did I. Because then when she said that, I was like, oh my God. And then we were walking around, and she said that if you put a brush with a brush and a brush, or a brush and a chisel tip, doesn't fit in this case. It's too long.
Well, what is this case?
So
describe this to the people.
Yeah. So this is a plastic art bin case. I know it's an art bin case.
17-liter box.
Oh, yeah, it's a 17-liter box case if you're listening. And we bought them at Our Gray Barn. Super rad people. They have an Etsy shop, and they do a lot of custom cut MDF boards and stuff.
Not sponsored by Our Gray Barn.
I know, but could be.
But could be. We bought these.
So expensive.
So expensive.
Well, because I think they're on the East Coast, and we shipped them to California.
Well, the shipping is what the cost was. The cost of the product was very reasonable. The shipping was kind of sucky, but what can you do?
So Our Gray Barn found these cute little art bin cases where your Copic markers fit in there with their fun MDF that they laser cut the holes into. So these ones right here that you see that have the circles, I don't even know if I'm on camera, but I'm doing it anyways.
Yep, it's inside
that have the circles are not meant for Copic. So the Copic one I have has kind of these like ovally shapes, and my Copics sit in here. I'll insert photo here. You can see. And so this one, somebody said, oh, well, if you use the Copic refill system, so they made a cartridge for the refills when they redesigned them, that the refill system insert will fit the OLOs.
In fact, it does.
And it does, but it only does if you have marker and refill. If you have marker and marker, it doesn't.
Yeah, there's not enough headspace to close the lid.
Yeah, because the refill doesn't come with that cap. So the cap is what, say about 1.25 inches, where this end, the refill end, is probably about 3/4 inches.
Yeah.
So it's that extra clearance that it doesn't have because the lid, the ARPN lid sinks in.
Yeah.
A little bit around it. But it does hold them nice in place so they don't jiggle and fly out.
Correct.
So this is my go-to alcohol ink marker. And obviously I have two. One for my Copics and one for my OLOs.
Mm-hmm. And needless to say, a bunch of the gals who went, Vanessa and I, ended up getting all the OLOs. So now we have a full set of each. Shout out to my girl Vanessa. What's up, girl?
I know.
And we have the system.
I'm really I'm still really stuck on how you organized yours.
I just did it according to the chart. It makes sense. You look at your eyeballs. When I am coloring, I don't know color combinations for this kind of coloring. So I'm looking at the chart and looking at what's close. Okay, R1, here. It just coincides.
Yeah, but I want a green. So I'm going to go to the green row and find the green. And they're all next to each other. I mean, they're in order.
Well, it's also in order.
No, where's your green? I gotta look for it.
Green.
It's a scavenger hunt.
It's green.
That's
Look,
blue green.
You can see the green.
Oh, blue green, green. Okay, see?
See, but this is the order that OLO said it should be in. So I just followed.
Who made them, boss?
OLO's instructions. Whoever made this chart, thank you, by the way. This is very well done.
I do love the charts.
I really appreciate that because.
And it's a free download.
Yes, I just went onto their website and printed it.
Yeah, so if you go to olomarker.com or whatever, down at the bottom, there's a resources, I think, tab, or maybe at the top. But you could you can see how heavy-handed we are.
Oh, we color right through. We color right through to saturation.
I know. Oh my god.
Well, and they also have a color wheel you can color in as well.
Yeah, they do have options.
I'm not an artist. That's more down the fine art route for a color wheel. That's not what my eyeballs need. Yeah. So this is what works for me.
Well, for my OLOs, I bought the Sandy Alnook, I think is her name. She did no, it was like a hexagon cluster with the colors
that go together.
Yeah. Oh. So it's kind of rad.
Why haven't you shown me those? Why are you holding out on me? What is this?
No, it's just for coping.
Oh, it's just for Copic. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
I was like, can we get one for OLO?
I don't know if she's made one for OLO yet.
Can we get one for OLO? Because that would be nice.
I know. Please make one.
Yeah, shout out to, who's your girl?
I don't know who she is. I just follow her on Instagram, Sandy Alnick. I think she does she designs stamps and stuff too.
Wow.
So.
But yeah, I love this organization system. I think this is very user friendly. And for me, if I'm going to go to a class, this is how I'm going to go. I'm going to take my tote bin and we're going to have these colors and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I also don't have my 0 in here. I couldn't find it. I don't know where my 0 went. But talk about what the 0 is for people who are listening. Because there's so many different ways to use it. And I didn't know that until I took the bootcamp class. I
know. I didn't know that either until I took the bootcamp. Well, there's a lot of techniques. So,
because it's not an eraser. It's not an eraser.
It's not. It's a ink pusher.
It's
a pusher.
It's pushing it back.
Are you a pusher, Betty?
I'm very much a pusher.
I love that movie, Mean Girls. I tried to watch the new one. Nope. 10 out of 10. Do not recommend the new Mean Girls movie.
Have not seen that yet.
Don't. Not worth your time. I was opening.
You push the ink back in.
Yeah.
So if you go outside of the lines, you use that 0 marker to kind of scooch it back. Mm-hmm. But it does leave like a faint kind of.
Very faint. Yeah.
Depending on your color. So if you're using a light color, you can get away with it.
Obviously it's not going to work on black.
Right.
Or something very dark. I think it's more like color out the lines with something light.
It could push the color back in.
Yeah. It also, not that it takes away, but it looks like it takes away.
But it's really moving.
It really is. So, you know what? I'm just going to do it.
Are you going to do it on your color swatch?
Okay, no.
See, Nina does all of these things that are so out of my comfort level. Like, I spent so much time making this beautiful color chart for the pod, and so did she. And she was just gonna write all over it.
Mine just stays in here, like whatever.
Write all over it.
I was gonna write all over it. Like,
okay, show
who
the
cares?
people. Show the people. Show the people.
Okay, so if you take I don't know, let's take a dark marker because that'll show up. This is where a chisel tip would be handy.
Fair.
So I'm taking an OLO marker and I'm just putting in some dark blue, and I'm going, a couple times back and forth just so that it gets
saturated.
So what is really kind of cool about the 0, and Copics have a 0 too, right?
Yep.
It kind of pushes the ink away. So if you wanted to do polka dots.
I like the polka dots. That was my favorite thing that we did.
So if you take polka dots, you just take your brush, your 0 brush or chisel or whatever, and you push it down and hold like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lift up, let it kind of dry a little bit, and then do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could like swirl it around if you want a little. Lift it up. The marker will take a little bit of the ink on it, but like whatever, it's not gonna, you can take it off if you want. And then again, maybe this time I'm just gonna blend in a little circle. Doot. And all it's doing is, I don't even know if you can see that on camera. Very little. It's moving that ink. It's spreading it away.
Oh, you can see it on the back side better.
You can see it on the back, yeah. So it's kind of like push that ink away from wherever that is. So it's not really an eraser, but
it's a pusher.
It's a pusher, yeah.
It's a pusher.
And you can do polka dots. You can do stripes. You can do...
the jean technique was really cool, where she used like denim.
Yeah, but that wasn't with the brush marker. That was with the solution.
With the solution. But that was the 0 solution, right? Or is that different?
No, it's like blending solution.
It
might be like the same. Is it the same?
Anyways,
it might be the same.
There were some really cool techniques we learned at boot camp, which I really appreciated. I just learned that I'm not big into coloring. So it was hilarious.
You're just sitting somewhere for 8 hours quietly.
Okay, so all my girlfriends are like, "Hey, do you want to go on this trip to Arizona with us? It's a crafting trip. It'll be great." I'm like, "Yes, sign me up." I like pay. It's so great. We get there, and it's like 10 hours of coloring, and I was like, "This is slowly eating away my insides." Like, okay, I can crop for 12 hours. Like, I can crop forever.
Yeah.
But just coloring in a silent space, and like when you hear us how we are now. I mean, imagine like 3 more of us.
I know. Some people do not appreciate the naughty corner.
I mean, and we're just having a good time. We're all off of work.
Yeah.
We all have crazy schedules. We never get to see each other. And it's like, we just want to hang out. We just want to have a good time. And frankly, 10 hours of coloring is not a good time for Betty.
Yeah.
So.
No, I was trying to look at the pictures because I didn't bring any of my colored stuff. Oh, that's not... Well, I mean, we did some cool things. So we did like leopard print.
Yes. So there's some really cool techniques that Jen showed that was really, really great. So what you can do with OLOs is you can wash. So you can gray wash things and really get some wonderful effects.
Well, and you can do that with the Copics too, but I think it's just about learning and playing with your markers.
And that's the thing, is if you're like me and you leave them in the box and you never use them, you're never going to improve your coloring techniques. You're never going to develop new skills. And that's why it's really worth it to go to classes and be around people who can actually teach you how to use this.
Yeah. There. I was trying to, where's my little guy with my... There's his hair.
Oh, your leopard bro and his hair.
My leopard. He had leopard and zebra print.
That's cute. Shout out to La La Land. That was a cute image.
It was a cute image.
It came out
and
really
the wood. See, I mean, it is about playing and coloring and just practice. Like, really.
See, for me, the only things, I have this very nice collection of markers that is very expensive. But frankly, I'm only going to use it to color in Lawn Fawn. I'm sorry. Lawn Fawn are my favorite images to color because they're big.
They're so tiny.
There's some of them that are pretty big and some of them are tiny
critters.
to where you only need 2 colors to really get a really cool effect.
Yeah.
So shout out to Lawn Fawn. I'm a fan of your coloring because that's frankly all I'm going to color with because everybody knows I'm about to die cut everything else.
I mean,
We like what we like. Okay.
yeah.
What else you got on Olos?
I don't know. Did we cover everything?
The new release.
The new release.
They have 32 new colors.
32 new colors, and we have a bundle here.
Oh.
So, yeah, we have a bundle deal. They're 15% off if you buy all 32 at the same time.
Wow, that's a deal.
And it comes with 16 connectors, so you can connect them together. And I'm just doodling. My ADHD
like,
is
what's going
taking
on over
hold.
here?
I know my ADHD is coming
With your
on board.
chisel tip, get out of
I
here.
know. Well, I'm just making use of the chisel tip now that it's all over my fingers. Yeah, no. So I think the resources, like, it is a fun. If you haven't tried alcohol ink markers, I would recommend them.
I would definitely start with Olos. That is where I would
Yeah.
go. It's so user friendly. There's so many colors. They're constantly coming out with colors, which I think is more affordable. I would rather them drop 30 colors at a time to where that way it's only a couple $100 as opposed to like $1,000. Like, it's a lot of money if you're making that much of an investment.
32 colors with the bundle, I want to say it was $112-ish. But that was with the discount.
Right. And that's great.
Yeah.
So I would definitely give it a shot, and shout out to our buds at OLO, the heart of color.
Yeah, tell us what alcohol ink marker you use.
Yeah, are you Team Copic or Team OLOs?
I know. Well, there's also Team Spectrum Noir, Team Tonic, Team Arteza, Team...
I've seen
there's so many.
Wahoo going around.
I think those are on Amazon.
I don't know what those are, but I've seen those going around.
Some of them, I mean, I would play with them. Take a class. If there's a class that's like an intro to OLOs or something near you, I would do that. Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know where to start. It is I would buy like 2 or 3 colors. Like, if there's 2 or 3 colors that you use
get a
all
family.
the time.
Get a family.
Yeah. Well, even if it's just like, you know how I started? Actually, do you know how I started buying Copics? I didn't even blend.
Oh, you just colored them like markers?
I was like, this is the best marker.
Ooh, like the Crayolas?
Yeah.
Ooh, girl, you be using a $9 marker like a Crayola? Ooh.
Because when I started taking Julie's lawn fawn classes like 7 years ago, she wasn't teaching coloring. It was just lawn fawn, and she would have the Copics out for you to use. And people would be like shading and coloring. I was like, dang, that's cool. Like, but I am not going to be able to ever do that. Yeah. But I really wanted the markers because they colored so nice.
And look at you now.
I know.
Look at you now.
Look
at you now. Because for me, like, what gets me is like the shine in the hair. And when you start talking about light source, like, I'm sorry, I went to art school, but not that kind of art school. Like, that is so intense when you're talking about the direction of the sun and where the shadow needs to be. That's too much. I'm not trying to do all that.
Oh, I know. So even with my little critters, people are like, how do you know where to shade? I'm like, wherever my marker touches, because I'm not good at that.
I don't know. Like, I'm sorry. Like, whoever I'm giving this card to has no idea about light source. Like, why are we talking about this?
Dude, if I gave somebody a card and they like commented on my light source, that person would never ever get a card from me again.
They're off the Christmas list.
Off the card. You are getting a Trader Joe's 99-cent card. Okay?
Shout out to Serena. I love those cards.
I know.
Thanks for sending me those.
But I am not making. If you comment on my light source, come at me.
Yeah, and that's where I tuned out. I was like, "Girl, bye. I'm not talking about light source.
I mean, I
right
try.
now.
I like strive to be that person that can like be that artistic, but like, let's be real. Like, this honey badger is coloring like as fast as she can to make belated birthday cards, because heaven forbid somebody gets a birthday card on time.
Mean, and I thought I was setting a good precedent last year. I got it on my birthday. It was so nice.
Yeah, your first time, your first card. Slippery slope.
Noted. Noted.
To be fair, I did custom order you something, and it is not here yet. So I was like, I can't give it to her separately.
Stay tuned, folks.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned, because it will be on the pod. I can't.
All right, crafty besties.
I know. And with that, I think we are done talking about Olos today.
Definitely give them a shot. Take a look at them. There's a link below if you'd like to purchase them. And until next time, my friends.
Yeah. Happy crafting.
Happy crafting, everyone.